What is up, guys? Beautiful day. Actually, it's a really crappy day. It's raining outside like crazy. I actually wanted to do my Sunday vlog actually today, but I just didn't want to go outside to actually do something because I want to talk a little bit more about Germany, but that's for another day to discuss. And very quickly, guys, I can see that a lot of you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet. If you haven't yet, please make sure you consider to do so because it will help out the channel a lot and it would also help me understand a little bit more in what direction I should go to into saying what videos I should review. But today I want to upload a video because I was listening to my song list a little bit and there was a song that I just never knew the title of, and that is Follow by MONSTA X. I just didn't know what they were saying because it keeps saying fa la la la, fa la la la, but now I understand they're actually saying follow lo lo, follow lo lo, which is actually super cool. And that is a video I just never saw yet, and I thought this would be a great video to analyze because it's full of energy, full of vibes, and I'm really curious how they translated this into a video and see what we can learn there. What kind of setup did they use, and just to explore a little bit what they're actually doing in the production scene. Again, guys, we are not here to bash any music group or anything similar like that. We're really talking about how these videos are made in post-production, which I think is a little bit more interesting rather than just looking at the group. I like to look at the overall production, and that includes the group, because without the videographers, without the editors, MONSTA X is no one. So let's not waste any more time and let's jump right into MONSTA X with Follow, 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 hey, follow. Before we get into the video, I just want to say that what I really like about these videos, and generally K-pop, they always add a date to when a video was produced or made or when it was uploaded. I think this is a great little add-on because it just like puts a signature to the entire video. A small detail, but it's a great detail to add, and also a good indication for all the viewers. Ooh, look at that. We got like, what is that? The moon? I guess this is the moon with a very crazy effect on it. Whether you like the effect or not, I don't really mind, but it kind of fits in the color palette that we see a little bit later. Then we have this semicircle there. Again, a circular motion. And then we have a watch. Really, really nice detail because it keeps following a circular motion or a circular pattern. Super cool. And I love the heat. Very nice. And again, look at these circles just. It's really, really nice. But what is also very interesting to take away, I don't know if you guys can see it, so I had to double check it quick. What is cool about this red line here, I think they are masking this piece because they're basically taking away all the color. For example, if you look at the line here, the red in the clock, or whatever you want to call it, it basically disappears. And even though you turn off the lights in production, it doesn't mean that this was going to lose color. So I think what they did is they overlapped a color mask to take away all the red on the floor. A little bit interesting. Or for example here, you can really see it. Now I can see it. Let's go back there quickly. For example, they're all wearing a reddish color actually, and then when the shadow comes, they're in post editing away all the red. But not the red in the background because that is a CGI effect. That is not real fire. Super cool. A little bit interesting how we're going from a very warm color to a very cold color. It's interesting, and I think as well that it's not really the worst case here because it's still a very neutral look that we're looking at. And I think that's the most important, that we're not just jumping from one really strange color to the next strange color. So it's a nice little contrast, and they actually executed this transition quite quick, but quite well. Very cool. You can see that this is already going to be a video that's most likely, and I hope so, choreography based. I think choreography videos always tend to do much better because people tend to follow choreographies. They want to learn them, practice them, do what they want to do with them. And I think for these kind of videos, it is just always an upward stream. It's just beautiful to look at. And you can also see that you always see these entire groups. I think it's very important that when you have a group, you show everyone and not just one member. Also, great little transition here. They had a little bit of a shake, but what I like about it, there's a little bit of a zoom in here, and then for the next scene, it zooms out again. So it's more like a kind of cool to look at. Really, really interesting. Very nice colors. Very rich and vibrant colors without making everything look overly saturated. So I'm really curious how they did this in post-production concerning color grading, but they did a fantastic job with the skin tones. They really look natural while keeping his hair very vibrant. A little bit of a weird cut there, to be honest. I think they didn't need to cut it here, but I think for this particular scene they could have just continued it. But no idea what happened there. But what are they doing here? Did they flip it? No, they're completely two different scenes. Nonetheless, I think they could have just kept it going because it's a little bit of a strange cut there. I would have just said, let's continue one scene and see how it goes. But because it's not even on beat, it's just a little bit off topic. Ooh, that's really wide. I just don't know what video it was anymore, but I complained about this wide. I think it was Backdoor, where they also had these very wide backgrounds. I'm not really a fan of it because especially when you have a 400 nit display, it's really bright. It's a really bright experience. So you're basically being blinded by the video. So for a long viewer experience, I hope they don't continue this too long. It's a little bit just too bright for me. A little bit too much power put into it, because here, for example, it just looks so much better. While with the white, let's just jump quickly let's just jump between them actually, because I want to showcase this. I mean, if you have to jump like this, it just hurts the eyes a little bit over time. It's just a little bit too impactful for me. They should have kept it a little bit more neutral like this. Lip sync is also spot on. I don't know what this is. I'm really curious if this is added in post or not, but I really just think it's a very big ring light and that's it, with a warm temperature. I think it looks great. I think it's a small effect, but it looks super cool. It makes it look like an angel, like an halo. Very cool. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Whoa, let's have a little look here to see if this is a little bit on time. I wanna... Do we even see water? So you can see that in this shot, the water has already landed. You can see that it's going from the top to the bottom and it lands on his hand. So it should be there. So the next scene, I would expect that it just goes, but it actually does. So they did a good job here. I thought it's going to look a bit different. Oh no, it's still falling. That was the thing. You can kind of still see that there's this one frame of it falling. I think they should have just taken that frame away and just really just concentrate purely on the splash. Small little detail, we're only talking about one frame. I would have just made it a little bit more accurate, but it's totally fine the way it is right now. Beautiful sense of working with different lights here. I think lights always make something more a little bit dramatic, shadows, and it's not something that's very costly to do in any video production, especially if you have a inside production. When you're in nature, it's a little bit more tougher to do, but it is something worth considering that when you do work with lights and shadows and you want to add a little bit of drama, work with your lighting. Buy some cheap materials to block lights, shades, make whatever you want out of it, but play a little bit with it. It adds a little bit more impact to your videos itself. Oh, that must be so bright to look in. I mean, spotlights are really bright. They really are bright. So I'm actually amazed that you can see where his eyes, he's kind of squinting a little bit, but they're really bright. So hats off for him continuing the shot. But like I said, they're just super bright to look at. But they look very dramatic. Again, this very wide background, it's the only thing that I just don't like at this moment. I generally don't like it because it's just too bright. Because if you jump between scenes, like I say, it's just mega, mega, mega bright. You know what I'm trying to go for? And I hope that future K-pop videos just stay away from it. I don't like the effect at all. It just looks very terrible. It's not dramatic, it just adds a lot of white to a video, a lot of white space. Ooh, super cool done. I don't know how they're controlling this, but I like how they're making this look like time. Like a, what is it called, a sun watch, a sun clock. Super cool. Very nice camera angles. I like this actually, what they did here. So what you can see here is that they added a little bit of physical movement to the camera. So aka they're filming this on the spot, while also in post they're also playing with the angles as well a little bit. For example, that was done completely in post. This zoom in It looks great nonetheless, but all I'm trying to say is that you can play with everything. I just don't like when all the camera angles are done in post. I think it looks too static, too machine made, while this kind of looks very interesting, very vibrant from a camera perspective. And also it's very just active with the members itself and the beat. Very nice colors though, very rich. Whoa, what? What was that? One sec, I wanna... Sorry, I wanna look at that water splash again. It just looked so weird. So there was a real water splash, but they added all this artificialness to it. I don't know if that's the best idea. Like, you can see that this is real water, and then you can kind of see that they added this weirdness in post. Like, for example, why is the water splashing? You cannot see it, but it's behind my camera. Or for example here, why is water... Oh, that even looks a little bit weird. Like, what are they, water bubbles? It looks a little bit awkward, like for CGI. But you can kind of see what they were going for, so they can kind of add it to the next scene, which you can see falling down here. One sec. For example, here you can kind of see they continued the effect. It looks good, but it just looks a little bit too fake. I don't like when CGI is not needed. They should just kept it out in this scene at all. It just looks too nonsensical, and it doesn't look like real water. They just look like massive big drops. Very interesting what they did here as well. A lot of heavy color grading here, but it looks good. It looks very vibrant and still keeping all the colors alive. I also like what they did in the back here. I mean, a lot of people might have guessed that this is maybe a fake background, but this is nothing more than wrapping paper with a shiny red tone to it, or whatever color it was. They could have color graded this in any color. But the point is that it looks very good for something that's very cost effective. All you have to do is get a lot of paper, reflective paper, build it up into a shape, but it's gonna look interesting. It's gonna look vibrant, aggressive, and good. Super, super well done. I mean, all of this just looks fantastic. I mean, it's nothing too complicated. It's most likely a structure, which was a little bit more pricey, but wrapping it up with a bit of paper or whatever they wrapped it up with, it just looks super cool and super interesting. It looks like a big Christmas present. Is that the right term? I don't know what it is. I just feel like I want to open it up, but it's a very cost-effective way of doing it. The only thing that I noticed that is a little bit weird in my opinion, you can kind of see that this part here is a real background, while here they kind of tried to replicate the same, but it looks very different because this is CGI, sorry, this is real and this is CGI, and it's something that they could have worked on a little bit more, or I would just say leave this out because it doesn't look that good. And you can see it actually right now as well, that the CGI is just a little bit like, yeah, it was a good idea when they were trying to plan this out, but it didn't really execute as good as it could have if they just ignored most of it. I love the colors. That's one thing I can say. I really think they did a very interesting vibe here. Warm, cold, red. Really beautiful to look at. I love these effects, by the way. You know, I love these time effects. They just look so impressive, even though it's nothing more than a light moving around the characters really quick. And that's really it. It's nothing too complicated. It's just a very difficult shot to pull off because you need a very high camera. And of course that depends on your equipment that you have, but it's just very interesting to still pull it off. And I think it just looks very interesting. I mean, I love the idea of putting time into videos because time is something that is man-made, but everyone has a different idea on how time works. So interesting. Again, it's very interesting what they did here with that first CGI effect. You can kind of see that the sun is moving with the planet, if this is a planet or a moon. That you can see that the sun is moving with all the characters, which I think is great. But at the same time, I kind of think it would have been cooler if it all moved at the same time, because you can see the shadow moves for everyone at the different time, which is a little bit... It could have just been in the sense of that one shadow is moving past all the members at the exact same time, rather than the different times at the same time, which makes a little bit of a inconsistent story, if I can say so. A small detail, and it's really hard to explain what I'm going for, but all I'm saying is maybe just put everyone together rather than having these beauty shots. Let's keep them all in one part of the clip to make sure that everyone is having the same effect at the same time. To keep the idea of time going. I love the party. The party is just great. I just love the idea of MONSTA X just here celebrating like crazy. I mean, it all just looks really... It looks like I want to party again. It looks like I want to have fun. It makes me want to go out, and hopefully a club will open soon and I can dance to MONSTA X if this is even possible. But it looks really cool. I'm really curious to this scene, what is real and what is fake. I'm thinking that the stairs is real. I think that the halo light is here fake, but nonetheless, I love this halo. I love this round circle. It looks super cool, very interesting, and nothing too complicated, but looks good. And I think that's it. So that was Follow by MONSTA X. And guys, it's generally a really good video. I mean, I just took a little break to understand what I saw. And it's a bit of a shame, because if you think about the video itself, it is really well executed. Most of the CGI effects are actually quite okay. I mean, if we look at the sun, if we look at that moon, the planet, whatever you want to call it, they look good. However, if you look at those extra effects they try to add in to the video, for example, those water splashes, it doesn't look good. Nor does it when they try to CGI a element that is already in scene. It just doesn't really match to the rest. So it's kind of weird what happened here. Maybe it's a bit of a rush production at the very end to say, hey guys, we need to add this to kind of extend the stage. Maybe this happened. I've experienced this several times actually, but nonetheless, I think it is still a really good video. If I have to give this video a rating, I was just gonna say it's gonna be worth an 8 out of 10. It is a really splendid video. It's really fun. Nonetheless, they should stay away from the elements that are feeling a bit rushed. They feel a bit like they shouldn't be there. Like I said, that water splash really ruined it for me. It was not needed. It didn't add anything to the video. So why did they do it? And also, it looked really, really bad. It didn't look like water. They just looked like water drops zoomed in, added in post. A little bit weird to add in a music video, to be honest. But what do you guys think? Did you enjoy MONSTA X with Follow? Did you enjoy the song? Did you enjoy the video? What do you think of my analysis? Do you like the video after all? Or do you think it's also a little bit of a problematic video with some of their effects? I'm curious about what you have to think, so leave it in the comments below. And like always guys, if you did enjoy the video, then please make sure you hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and make sure to leave your K-pop videos that you want me to review in the comments below. And of course, I would love to see you on the next video. So I'll catch you then guys, and see you then.